record. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another client spotlight. Today, I got the crash gal herself, aka Leah Wise. Leah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really well. It's been a good day and I am excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. We've worked together for the last, 3 to 4 months, and give us a sense of where you were at and why you decided to work with me a few months ago.
Okay, so it's a really long story, but to make it short, about a year and a half ago, I went through a very life-changing event. I mean, entire world turned upside down event. And so after that, I did 8 months of trauma therapy. This particular trauma therapy is called EMDR. And once I was done with that, I knew that I wanted something more than just conventional talk therapy. And you and I go not way back, but we go back to like 2019. And
Right.
there was like these weird things that kept happening to where I was like, Vic and I, like, we are meant to work together. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like there's some sort of like spiritual connection here. I feel like we really understand each other. You really understand me. And you have lived through trauma yourself, major trauma, as
Indeed.
have I. And so what I really like about you, sorry, now I'm going off on a tangent, but what I really like about you is that you know what it's like to be like down in the dumps, and you know what it's like to live through life altering trauma. And so I think that's another reason why I was drawn to you. So after I got done with EMDR, which was amazing, I wanted more of like a spiritual experience,
Mhm.
you know, like, um, and so I knew that you were into that. We've done meditation together. I already knew that you had great energy, so I decided to go for it. And yeah, 4 months later, it's been great.
So 4 months later, you decided to take this jump, and you had this spiritual craving. You knew there was more to life, to even healing than what you had already experienced. So, what did you learn from working with me these last few months?
Um, well, it's a lot. I'll try and break it down a little bit,
Yeah.
but probably one of the biggest things I remember you and I talking about this when we were like talking about our goals is like, um, basically I wanted to get out of my own way. I wanted to get out of my own head, get out of my own path, and to stop sabotaging myself. And so what I've learned is that through your work, through meditation, through working on my energy, I've been able to be on a path of least resistance
Boom.
and to be in a receiving mode, right? Because when we are stressed out, anxious, overthinking, negative thoughts, we are not in a receiving mode. We are like blocking good things from happening to us. And so doing like release work with you, meditating with you, talking with you, learning techniques from you have allowed me to better control my energy. I don't like that word control, but to better regulate my energy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To be in a
Manage.
receiving state. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
got to the point where if, in these past 3 or 4 months, I was like, say I was driving and I was, falling into a path of, or like a spiral of negative thinking, right? And I was able to, through the techniques that I learned from you, I was able to stop myself and be like, hey, you are falling into a non-receiving mode. Get back on track and get back into receiving mode. Do the breath work, do the release work.
Mhm.
And, I feel like good things have come to me more effortlessly since then.
So, like, why should anybody want to be in receiving mode?
To get everything you want out of life. I mean, obviously it's not magic, right? You can't be like, okay, I'm in the receiving mode. I want $1 million and tomorrow you get $1 million. But I have found that when you are in a receiving mode and you are, tuned in, what's the phrase? Tuned in, tuned
Tapped in,
in.
turned on. Yeah.
Yes, tuned in, tapped in, turned on.
Yeah.
And you are just appreciating everything about your life, and you are dwelling on good things rather than bad things. Whereas before this, I had a habit of dwelling on bad things, and I still do. I mean, I'm not perfect. It takes work every single day. But I'm better able to dwell on good things and just fall into a pattern of positive thinking. It takes effort. It doesn't come easy. It takes effort. But since I've been doing that, good things have been happening for me more effortlessly. I feel like, being in a state of gratitude, happiness, my energy is open and positive. It invites more good things for me.
Yeah, that's the interesting about energy that, we don't hear in the mainstream world, that if we're less
Right.
stressful, things actually flow to you easily.
Yeah, this sort of work is really obscure.
Mm.
It's not mainstream. You don't hear about brain heart coherence. You don't hear about energy work, release work, breath work. Even meditation isn't, people, it's like a popular thing, but I don't think people do it like religiously,
Mhm.
So this is like really non-mainstream stuff. And that's really what I was looking for after I was done with EMDR.
And we did a lot of like deep work where a lot of, situations that were coming up for you now, I always saw that you were amused or like, kind of intrigued in noticing how it related to some of your past experiences, right? A lot of times we're in these like negative thinkings in the moment, and we don't make the connection that this is actually some sort of emotion that you might have suppressed from your past, or, whatever. What was that like to be able to make those kinds of connections?
Okay, let me clarify. What was it like to realize where these emotions were coming from? Like way back, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is, it was really enlightening, because you fall into these toxic ways of living, toxic behavior, toxic thinking, and sometimes you wonder like, where is this coming from? Why am I like this? And so it was really enlightening to like dig deep and figure out like, oh, okay, this is probably where this is coming from. Now that I, um can sort of understand where it's coming from, I can work on releasing it and letting it go. So
Right.
did that answer your question?
For sure. And
Okay.
becoming a new, right? Becoming a new version of yourself.
Right,
And
exactly.
and so awesome. So for anybody who is watching this right now, right, and is like, like maybe like I can see myself in a similar place as Leah, or maybe Vic can help me. What would you suggest to them?
A few things. I would say there are not a lot of people who have lived through severe trauma in the same way that you have, or even I have. And it's sort of hard to find people you can connect to in that way. So I think that for one, you can pretty much understand every human emotion that there is because you've lived it. You've lived through depression, despair, not wanting to go on anymore. So I think it's really powerful that you can relate, like really relate. You know what I mean? You're not just saying, "Oh yeah, that must suck." It's like,
Right.
"Yeah, no,
I've
I
been
remember."
there.
Yeah, and you went through years of being in that space. And so I think that is what was most attractive about working with you, is because I knew like he knows what it's like to be in the lowest point of your life and get out from that. And these are the techniques and these are the ways in which you can achieve that. So if you have, and this isn't just like specific to people who've lived through trauma. I mean, if, you know, even if you're going through just like a difficult time in your life, maybe it's not, you know, something life changing, but maybe you're just going through like, you know, a low point in your life. These techniques are really, really helpful to bounce back, to regulate your emotions, your energy, and to, you know, just be in a receiving mode, in a receiving state. So you don't really, I'm not saying you have to experience some sort of trauma, even if you're having like the best time of your life and you want to just improve on it more. You know, the work that you do allows people to be in a receiving state. So I think it's a really great thing for anybody at any point in their life. But for me personally, what attracted me to your work was that I felt like, you know, we could relate on a very deep level.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that, you know, especially you having to go through what you've had to go through, losing somebody in your life that was so important. You know, it's there's such a grieving process, you know. For me, it was like losing functionality in my body, and though they're different, it's the same emotions every time, and
Right.
and
The regret, the you know, what if I had just done one thing different? Or you know
right,
what I mean? Like
totally.
you know, the bargaining. I mean, it really is like a lot of different stages of grief. Was like I was meant to read that one chapter to prepare me for what was about to happen in my life just, you know, 2 weeks later. And I remember the first few weeks of 2020, I just kept thinking like, gosh, it is so weird. I just feel like Vic like on this was on some sort of divine path to like give me this material. You know what I mean? So
Oh, there was definitely some crazy divine connection intervention that we were meant to meet when we met, you know, before you actually had your trauma and how it's all unfolded. It's blown my mind on so many levels.
and I'm not even that kind of person. Like I'm not the kind of person who's like, ooh, I believe in, you know, crystals. And I'm really not. Like I'm like, oh, that's just a weird coincidence. Oh, it's just a coincidence. But there's, you know, ever since that day, um, there's just been things that happen. It's like it's not a coincidence. And it was not a coincidence that I saw you that day and that you felt like you needed to give me that particular book.
Right.
So but I'm not normally that kind of person. I'm very much a skeptic. But
Well,
just
I feel like you were a skeptic.
yeah. I still kind of am, but now I'm like, wow, like it's true. When you are like your energy, it means so much. And when you are in a receiving state, you will receive good things that maybe you would not have received otherwise.
Beautiful. Um, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate our work together. And I'm so happy that I was able to serve you to get to this point, to play a part in the craziness that led us even here. But you know, I see you like, you know, getting onto like bigger things, and because of your trauma, I definitely see you serving people just in the way, you know, I mean, it's taken me a period of time, but just in the way that I've used my trauma to share with others to help other people, I feel like you have that gift as well. And so I look forward to um, what is in store for you moving forward. You know, you've done so much already, and there's a lot coming. So really excited
Yeah,
about both of our journeys, and obviously we'll be connected moving forward.
of course. Well, thank you so much for you know, leading me on this path, and I can't wait to see what's in store for you next either.
Absolutely. Well,
Exciting stuff.
everyone, yeah, good stuff is coming. My book is coming out June 21st for whoever's watching. Rolling with Vic, rolling with it. Lessons of while sitting down. I'm gonna edit that.
No, don't. That's what makes these videos great.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely there's more things coming. If you're interested in working with me, if you feel like you're stuck on your spiritual journey or you've experienced some level of trauma and you're trying to take it to another level, reach out to me, get on a call with me. We'll see if we're a good fit and if where we're trying to go from here. Thank you very much and have a good day, everybody.
Bye.